It's a great pleasure to introduce my dear colleague Matthias Stemmler for the next talk. Matthias is playing with data since over 27 years, and he helps organizations to design and implement modern data architectures. Throughout his career, he has had many roles, including technical consultant, project manager, and architect. And right now, he is responsible for the go-to-market of SAP HANA Cloud in the Middle and Eastern Europe region. Matthias will be talking about real-world use cases of HANA Cloud. Matthias, stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe before we begin, what distinguishes a real-world use case from a use case? I'm only talking today about things that our customer are really doing. So I'm not interested in what happened next year or in a half year or in a quarter of year of all the things that are coming. I'm only looking about things that they're already using. That's the thing, that's what I want to do today. I want to share with you some of the insights our customers are doing, our projects are doing. When I put in the abstract, I thought it was very easy because I have plenty of examples. Then when I put in the sheets, the PowerPoint, I see, okay, many of them are confidential. And so I have to look at it. So we look at it a little bit more. As Marcus says, okay. So about me, so I'm a long time in the IT. I was very proud, for instance, maybe you see, so I'm a technical guy. Also, I do go to market now. I was one of the people that did the first HANA native implementation at a big OEM in Germany, so automotive OEM. And it was fun because nothing worked. We have crashes all the times, and the performance was lousy, at least for the queries the customer really looking for. But these times are gone. Huh? Now we have on a good stage, it's working fine, so we will do it then. And before we begin to the projects, I want to ask you some questions. And as we all do it right now, we do it with ChatGPT or something like this. So the first thing is, how old is HANA Cloud? That was the HANA. So how many years? What do you say? You are not counting because, okay, he knows it. It's 16 years. So 16 years since GA was 15 years ago. And what's very interesting is that I cannot go to the next slide so easily. So this is the timeline that ChatGPT is giving me. And what was very interesting is I started also in 2011 with HANA in this wonderful OEM project. And now I collected some of the things that the customers are doing right now with the platform. What I don't want to look at is in this talk, as you all know, when you talk about HANA, many of the SAP applications are running on HANA. So ECC, S4, also in the cloud, DataSphere, SAC, and so on. I don't want to look at these projects. I want to look at the projects because HANA is, for my impression, the best database platform we have in the market, is looking custom use cases. So customer is building with the vector engine, with the knowledge graph, with the SDI, which I thought in the talk before. So we want to look at these things. So how can I really leverage the really good features of HANA Cloud, I would say. Some of the projects are on HANA also, you will see this, but they will move. And as in these times, we have also started with every time with Joule. Of course, these are the questions that we can ask Joule. And when you look later on in my presentation, you will find an example for every of these questions. So many of the questions is current customers has HANA sidecars, using the HANA sidecars, and they want to go to the cloud. How can we do this? Also, many customers, also some of them I advised the last years, did many of calculation views, did many of native implementation, how they can go to HANA Cloud in the end. Then also, we all say we want to have clean core. Clean core does not mean that we use the HANA underneath the S4 system to do fancy things. So we have to have another way to do the fancy things. We will do this. We want to, of course, use the new things. We want to use chatbots. We want to combine data from SAP. So most of the time, finance data or production data to data outside the SAP system, and also combine this in SAP HANA. And I also have an example for a very new thing. As you all know, HANA Cloud is now also part of Business Data Cloud, which is great. So I also have some examples that customers are already sharing SAP managed data products in HANA Cloud and really working on this data to do some fancy stuff like AI, like modern things there, so advanced analytics and so on. And we look at the projects I want to present you. We always find 3 of the archetypes. We have the things where every HANA project, every custom HANA project can be distinguished in. The first thing, the thing I like most, because that's the thing, it's near to my heart. That's the thing I did in the first 10 years of my career, building data warehouses, building big data scenarios, ODS, operational data store systems, data platforms. The thing there is, that the thing I want to show to you is, we are now in the good time that we can move this big platforms into the cloud. And I'll show you some examples. And with this, we really talk about big platforms, not 1 terabyte, nothing small things, big things, small, very impressive things we want to do though. That's the first thing. So it's the more SQL data warehouse type thing. There are also open data systems to some extent. The second thing is we want to build apps and agents. And I'm very proud in the end. I saw in the other presentations, we have this machine learning things in there. I will present you some vibe coding with HANA Cloud also afterwards. So, and I hope that everybody of you will go at home this evening and open the bars and do some vibe coding. It's very easy to do so. And so applications and agents we can do there. So it's also a nice thing. And the last thing I want to look at is the really advanced SQL analytics machine learning things, the hardcore things. Huh? Not the people like me that now are doing only vibe coding, but the people that are data scientists and they want to do the hard stuff in there. And I have some examples for everything. Some examples are anonymized because I cannot share it here in the greater audience, but you have some, when you have some more detailed questions about it, we can talk to each other, and also all these projects are real, so we can also talk to the end customers if you like to have some more insights on what they are doing. Okay, as I said, many of my projects I'm currently doing is we have a very big HANA native system, and we want to put this to HANA Cloud. And the first thing is, this is quite an easy task. It's not that complicated because it's not that complicated as you think. So when you look at one of my customers, it's very easy to count or look at the artifacts from HANA on-premise system to HANA Cloud. And there are some codings there, but don't be fooled. Normally, it's very easy to migrate most of them automatically. So we have here the important thing are the tables, the partitions, the views, of course, the calculation views, the virtual tables at the end. All the other stuff is not that important. It's very easy to migrate this. It's very easy to think in there. But when you go to the customer, sometimes this is not the right approach, because many of my customers building this data warehouses, they use HDI containers and they use Web IDE to do so. So this would be a very database-centric way of migrating it. And it's a valuable way. Huh? We can do so. But we looked at it, and we looked at it a little bit deeper with some customers. And sometimes it's the development runtime, like Web IDE and bars, are very, very compatible. So it's not that hard job to say, when I have my Jenkins pipeline to build up my on-premise HANA system, and now I say, okay, we have another source, HANA Cloud, so all the artifacts should be there. So to migrate the empty system is quite easy at the end. And then we go off, we have to also migrate the data. And also, it's also, I like the section before that, because there was SDI as the hidden secret of SAP. It's not even, it's the hidden secret. It's from my perspective, the most, the wonderful stuff to migrate data with SDI. It's very fast, it's very reliable, and it handles all the nice things. So migrating data is very interesting, and that's the thing here in the underneath. So we have our old HANA system, we have a distributed processing agent, and then we can put in the data in the new HANA Cloud systems. So this is really not a heavy task, and it's very reliable. It's also very fast. And what comes also to this, I cannot do only HANA to HANA migrations. Also, all the other stuff, so just having some files to load in the HANA Cloud, having go to other systems and so on. And then, of course, what's very important, the customer is asking, and normally from SAP, you don't have any benchmarks. That's very bad. We have no benchmarks normally. Yes. The nice thing is the customer can easily benchmark all things. And for instance, so HANA Cloud and SDI in such a migration project will never be the performance bottleneck. Your network and the source system will be the bottleneck. With a single SDI replication connection, which we saw in the section before, was very easy to set up. We can fully utilize a customer network system, the whole bandwidth, no problem. You can limit it not, no. Then you have the network should limit it at the end. So we measured, also a customer of ours measured 4 terabytes per hour is not a problem. It's not an issue, 4 terabytes per hour. So even when we come from 20, 30, 50 terabytes, it's nothing that a problem. Huh? SDI is not only replicating data, and also a nice thing, what many customers don't know is no need for a DM set, because the DP agent can reside nearby the systems, and we don't need any DM set things, which is very nice there. So it's very modern, even it's still existing. But what I want to give with you is we have plenty of other options. I give you another project example, which is, normally we want to have some innovative things. I show you what is real life scenarios at the customer side. We go to this. So it's a project we did. It's so a very old ECC systems running on iSeries, so with DB2400, and they have sidecar scenarios with very old HANA. And they're saying, oh, this is old stuff. We want to modernize it. Also here, what we did is you can exchange this with HANA Cloud. We can also, that's not that big, 600 gigabyte of total size. Biggest table is 80 million entries. 400 gigabyte per table is not that big, but we can do this. And the other thing is, all our ABAP tooling, or most of our ABAP tooling, what's this, would also can connect to HANA. So HANA Cloud can be accessed from all open SAP applications. We tested it in this scenarios with a very old ECC system, with an SLT server, also with S4. So the HANA Cloud can access the HANA on-premise systems. That's also a thing when we want to build up sidecar scenarios. It's very easy to build it up. What's very nice is in the world of ODP and APIs and compliance and so on, HANA Cloud is compliant to access any HANA runtime. So it can access it, and we can work with the data. So it's a very good way, a very SAP-centric way of doing that thing. So I like it. I like SLT, even older than SDI, and I like SDI. Two very good scenarios, and we have now the replication flows in the BDC or DataSphere. We have a third scenario, and we can choose as we like. That's a good thing. So the next thing in this migration scenarios is the customers always say HANA Cloud is a Mickey Mouse system. It's not enterprise grade. It's not big enough for our high demand of things there. And I come up with this slide. You know it, of course, with this in-memory and native storage extension. But I want to give you an example. Real time, and everything is there, okay, grayed out, but it's customer specific. So this is an example. We have a very big HANA on-premise system, 15 nodes times 3 terabyte, so 45 terabyte of data. So about 1,500 CPUs are working on this wonderful old system. And everybody's saying, or the customer saying, it's not possible to have this in HANA Cloud because we have no scale out, we have no this, we have no that. And we tried it out. And we go with a HANA Cloud system, which is comparably quite small against the cluster on the other side. But if you look at it, when you look at how big a query could be, we have no inter-node communication and so on. And we tried it out. So the customer tried it out. Is this system as fast as this system? As reliant as this system? What do you think? It's faster, of course. The HANA Cloud system is much faster and much more reliant in this scenario because we have one big node that's working for us. It's so with modern CPUs and so on. So it's viable to do so. Okay, and there's the thing. So these are the data warehouse scenarios. But now look at the application and agent development scenarios. And I also liked in the morning was the vector engine introduction there. And I like the vector engine very much. This is the real architecture, but let's go to a simplified architecture. What is the thing behind the vector engine? What can we do with this? We have here a customer with plenty of S4 systems, big customers, and they have the problem, they get invoices. And sometimes the invoices come in twice or 3 times the same. It's a mistake at the end. And in the past, the invoice come in and they pay. Nowadays, when a big invoice comes in, it goes to a central system, vectorize the invoice, to say the similarity of this invoice, and put the embeddings in the HANA Cloud. And when the next invoice comes in, and it's too similar to another invoice, it's not saying they don't pay. They flag it and say, please, Mr. Analyst, look at it and look at. And that's a nice thing there. So this is an example for 2 patterns at the end. First, of course, I can use the modern HANA Cloud in an S4 scenario. This S4 can be on-premise. It is on-premise on the side. And I can extend my on-premise system with business scenarios in the cloud. It's quite easy. It's not that business critical as you could expect, because if the invoice is not paid immediately, it's okay. Yeah? It's a nice thing that they do it now on a regular base. They only do it for big invoices, not for the small ones, only for the thing. And the nice thing is they really found already a 3 million invoice with some, it was an error. It was not, the other partner did not do it by thing, but they don't pay it, and that was a real thing. Yeah. 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 No, not this. It's before that. They have many of the invoices are not electronical. I know they are no pushed to have it electronic, but this is a use case that they already implemented before the electronical invoice in there. But the nice thing is, in the former times, they did it with rules. They say if the amount is similar to this amount, or is that. But this is, of course, you have to know the rules. And with this, you only look at the similarity based on the LLM at the end, on the embeddings. It's a nice thing, yeah, because you don't have to train also. Huh? You only say, okay, I want to do it. With this kind of scenario, you cannot say I don't pay. Yeah, it's just, so the invoice have to be marked, and then somebody, a human in the loop, have to look at it and say, do I want to give the money or not? Huh? But it's an indicator. We go to the last thing, and that's the thing that I also heard many sessions here with machine learning. And it's very important that, of course, we don't want to focus machine learning only with HANA Cloud. Of course, we have standard processes, we have the AI Launchpad, the AI Core things. But the nice thing is, when we look at, we want to have AI workloads that's near database, then HANA Cloud really is a very good option to do so. And I have here an example for you, also a real scenario out of Switzerland. It's a cash flow forecast. Huh? So very technically speaking, we take the ad hoc A thing, so all our financial documents, and we want to predict, is there a good cash flow or a bad cash flow at the end? And it's a custom scenario, and then we can do it with the things that we saw in the morning, with all the machine learning things. We can look at, we can have a prediction and so on. The nice thing is here, it's always a thing that we can do it easily. So we can replicate the data very easily in the HANA Cloud. We can do it there, and then we can put back the results to the S4 systems or to the ECC system. That's so it's a fast moving scenario. And then we can look at how can you start with it. And I started with it, I think, 3 years ago, and we will see where we ended. Huh? And we saw it that many of our customers are using it now. So we have this Python machine learning client for S4HANA, for SAP HANA. So it's very easy to use. And you will see how easy it gets even easier when you look at the next slides, what you do. So we have this thing there. I like SQL. I know most of the people doing data science want to have Python. It's the same for me at the end. But when we have this hundred of algorithms, and we can really work with the data. And before that, many of people like me doing with SQL or doing some nerdy Python, or some I put this and that and that. And so a colleague of mine, Andreas Forster, built a very good hands-on tutorial. And what's very nice is it's used by many customers right now. Huh? They are doing it right now. And what is the thing behind? The thing is you don't need anything outside the SAP ecosystem. So you have your HANA Cloud with your machine learning algorithms. You have Business Application Studio, where you can have your Jupyter notebooks or Python scenarios. We have client for automation, for vibe coding. We will see it in just a minute. And of course, if this is not enough, we can go via the GenAI Hub to include other LLMs, Claude, and so on, everything what we need. And the tutorial is very easy to use. And I really want to motivate you this evening that you're doing it. Huh? And for that, I will want to show you a video, or I want to show you how easy it is. And we had in the morning, we put in this IDE and this IDE and this IDE and so on. And now look a little bit business oriented. Huh? So I have here a prompt that can generate all the things there. Huh? Create a new notebook called HANA Machine Learning Time Series Forecast. So I want to do some time series forecasting. I say, OK, I give you the credentials for my HANA. It's all the developers are doing. Huh? So we put in some passwords and users in some files. It should use the HANA ML package that we saw already in the morning. It should connect to the table hotel nights. I have really be precise to say the data stay there. don't download the data and do some magic on the laptop. We don't want to have it. Then use the HANA ML to aggregate a table, some 2 months, something like this, with the hotel rights. Then, okay, I want to train the adaptive model forecast. So I say, okay, use this. I could also say, try different ones and look at what you want to achieve and predict the next 6 months. And so on. And on the result should be in the hotel nights forecast bars. And that's the thing that many of my customers are now, so the business users can do. It's not that far away because it could be this business language at the end. And let's look at the video that you will also get on the thing. And we are in bars, and we have a client to automate the thing. I have here the prompt that we already read through. And then we have to wait approximately 10 minutes. And what does it do? It vibe code me the notebook with all the things we want to do. We have to say yes sometimes, okay? It's not, that's normal with vibe coding. That's the thing that the user has to do at the end. And I don't, at the beginning it's a little bit slow. So it begins to learn about it. It knows what kind of libraries he should add. He knows how to connect to the HANA. He look about the table. Where's the table? Okay, there is also this forecast. How do I have to implement this machine learning forecast and so on? And it goes and goes and goes. And afterwards, when we look at what he's creating is, he creates a notebook with everything in there, what we're telling them. And this is also something that a business user can do and can reuse with this. So, and there are now, as I have at least 3 customers that are currently doing this with the business user thing. Because nowadays, with AI, with the vibe coding, the code comes up again, the written code and not the modeling. And with this, it's very easy to achieve. And as I said, if you have bars, if you have HANA Cloud, you should try this out. It's amazing. It's also something that is available right now. Okay. So with this, there's one thing that many of our customers are still saying, for the real thing, HANA Cloud is not good for me. And then there are most of time two things that they say, okay, this is missing. And in fact, they are not missing. The first thing is sovereignty. That's also a thing that plenty of our customers say, okay, we don't want to have the HANA Cloud on Azure or AWS or whatever. We have this. And the other thing is, and that's the thing that also is deep in my mind, because in my heart, because it's when I want to make real applications, I need to have high availability and disaster recovery on a very high level. Because the important applications, of course, in a company have to run. And also for this, it's also a thing that most of the people don't know. And it's in the configuration, it's only 2 mouse clicks away at the end. That is mission critical workloads. And with primary and secondary data centers, also with data centers that are not in north of Frankfurt and south of Frankfurt or something far away. And the nice thing is with HANA Cloud, we can have this. We have paired HANA Cloud systems that can handle the workload and of course all the other things. And I think that's made it a little bit complicated. So the containers, the authorization management, so that I can log in, the application for itself, of course, has to also be on both sides, but it works. That's the nice thing. And I have at least one customer. It's very interesting. They are sitting, they have written their own monitoring tools and counting the seconds the HANA Cloud is not available, or you cannot connect and so on. And the seconds were a little bit not so less in the beginning, but it's getting better and better and better. So I think it's ready for prime time, and even our important customers can use it with really near zero downtime things there with this kind of scenarios. The good thing or the bad thing is, of course, it's not for free. Huh? It's something you have to pay for, but that was never the case. Or in the old case, was disaster recovery in the old times was even much more expensive, because then I have to also put in all the concepts, operation concepts. I have to look at what I do, and this comes always there. So we can have this HANA Cloud scenario in there, and we have these mission critical workloads there. So this is a thing. At nowadays, I only have one customer that are using this, because everybody is saying first, I want it, and then I see the price and I say, okay, we gone back to the business, and half a day outage is not a problem. So, okay, but it's also this kiss and ball. But we can go to really, really critical things in there, which is very important also there. So these are my slides at the end. I want to thank you. Happy when you have some questions. Also later on, we can meet outside, of course. Yeah, my part.
Yeah, thank you very much for that great talk. When you said your first HANA project was something like nothing worked and the queries were slow, I had to remember my first customer meeting that was before GA of HANA 1.0, where we went to a Swiss logistic company, and we had nothing more than a handful of slides showing how long it takes to reach level 1, level 2, level 3 caches compared to reaching your data on disk. And then having a couple of questions in return. Yeah, okay, great. So what can I do with it? Yeah, well, I don't know, but you know, we have dictionary compression and run length encoding and stuff like that. So it's great to see how far we came with actually real world use cases from that perspective. But don't forget to rate this session using the QR code that you do see, and happy to take some questions here.
What is a business user for you? Because for me, it's a user processing invoices, working in the production plant and things like that. And I can't imagine that someone is using these tools you showed.
You're right. When I talk about business user, I'm talking more about business users that are IT affine. So in controlling, for instance, there are very high level business users. They can do really everything. But you're not on your side, maybe. But yeah, but you're right. When I talk business user, I don't talk about an accountant that put in some data, because this, of course, is not a. You're right.
More questions in the room?
Hi. From a capacity planning perspective, have you seen any real world use cases where customer is struggling with limited capacities on any of S/4HANA or some other OLTP based system, and then they are trying to rely on HANA Cloud as an extension or a sidecar?
As the thing I have with this NetWeaver thing, this was a sidecar. That was, of course, it was the original database DB2. It was very slow for the reporting things. They put a one-to-one connection to the cloud.
That was
then the reporting on the sidecar.
Okay, that was in the context of DB2.
Yeah,
extended.
But also when you're going to it's always a thing when you can have a sidecar scenario. It could be many reasons why you want to do this.
Yeah.
One of the reasons could be that you want to distinguish the load of this thing from the other things, and it's a feasible thing.
The basic thought for somebody like me who deal with capacity planning is to strike a balance between higher cost from a scale up and yeah, just to overcome the data footprint and a few other non-critical workloads to divert to the sidecar. Is it still reasonable?
It's still the first thing I would do also. First, we look at the normal system and look whether we can solve the issues. Yeah, but also sometimes it's so what I found with the sidecar scenario is very good. Is for they want to be able to have the use case there, even if the original system, the S4 system, is not working, for instance. So you can have other SLAs with the sidecar. So what I see is you want to interact with your end customers, huh? And these end customers you don't want to have on your S4 system, because then it will benefit for everything you do there. And you don't want this. So you have this distinction that for the end customers you have a sidecar scenario where they put the data in there, and there you maybe have higher availability, and also you does not hit the original system with the load you have with your end customers in there. And the S4 system have to work on every time. And the other systems also important. But if there are some problems, then you can look at here. That's the thing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
More questions? And maybe I have one. What was it? Oh, yeah.
It's not really a question, but just a kudos to you that you, on the sideline, then also mentioned the multi-region replication that setup, because that's so cool and so easy to set up. If you do this on an on-prem HANA, it works as well, but with so much more effort. And I played around with it in HANA Cloud, and it's just really a few clicks and it works. It's so cool. So kudos that you didn't mention it. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's the difference. Huh? It's that easy to implement. Yeah, also when I saw the customer side, you have maybe 20 CPUs and they are too less. Huh? You go for 25 or for 30 CPUs. It's also only a click away from you. This is quite different from the on-premise system. And also when I want to have what also some of our customers doing in the old times, this is sandboxes. Huh? So you have an extra system for I don't know for what, yeah, but you want to have it. Nowadays you say I do a backup and I do a restore on a different instance. I have this for 2 weeks or something like this with all the wonderful data in there. I can work with it, and afterwards I put it down and it's gone. So all this operational stuff, this admin stuff, it's much easier.
Okay, any more questions? Then again, I try mine.
So the hard ones.
I mean, what you showed in the end, in the video, was how we can open up machine learning pipelines to the non-developers. So essentially doing something like natural language to machine learning workflow. On the other hand side, I mean, people are very much looking at conversational data analysis, so natural language to query, where people start with asking, show me sales by region, maybe eventually go to something a little bit more complex. The question is, do you think there is a continuum, that there is a single persona that may want to start with natural language queries to the database, but then extending, going forward to more complex kind of workflows like training a model and using a model?
It's a hard question, I would say.
Sure.
And from my perspective, I would be the guy that does something like this. So that's the thing I always try to do. So to put in the first thing. The nice thing is in the new world, you get these text files. Huh? You get you can work with them as you like. You can do it in a GitHub. You can enrich them with some manual typing. So yes, I would say so. I would say so. I don't think that every user will do so. Not the hardcore business user, but somebody in between. And the nice thing is, as you said, is in the former days, to use this wonderful stuff, I have to be very skilled. So before I can begin, I have to learn many things. Nowadays, I can start. So the hard stuff in the beginning is not that hard anymore. I can do it, and then also what is nice is later on when I have finished something, I can take this and can say, hey, you are the real expert. Maybe you can look at it and make it better, and I don't have to then have a very informal communication with the real developer, but I can say, I built this already. You can look at it. You can also say, okay, it isn't good enough, but at least it's much more formal than you can deliver than that.
Yeah, there's a kind of an intermediate format on which you can argue about. Yeah, Vitaly, glad to see your hand raised.
I wanted to answer your question maybe first.
Yes.
Because the funny thing is that, yes, those of you with so-called platinum industry color, we love to suffer. Yeah. And just like, I've been writing this code and it was so difficult and I will keep writing this because it is so cool and so on. So one of these guys is, I don't know if you know, Claude, and Claude is his first name. This is not
real Claude.
Yeah. He's one of our like so-called AI Blackbird for Europe, Claude Medard. Yeah. You know him, right? So he loves to suffer, yeah, and he loves to put everyone else to suffer. And this year we did the AI hackathon for customers in Switzerland, and he was just like, "I will prove that AutoML is better than RPT1." And by the end of the week, he was totally sold on RPT1. Just like, it's so simple. you put the table and it gives the results, and the results are as good as what I would spend 1-2 weeks just generating. So my point is, I rather see not people who were like, starting from something simple and moving into something more difficult, but I see rather people who are doing something difficult, love to suffer, but then all of a sudden discovering that, I can actually move into this natural language conversation. And, I still will keep something for my programming, for my coding, which is a little bit more difficult, but simple things I can do simply, right? So I do understand that you missed my session that I did today. And when I was showing using natural language to train the models and so on. But if you join as well our closing keynote, there will be a little bit more. So you are more than welcome. I'm glad that you asked. So we have the answer. But the question that I had in just like, because once again, talking about this industry platinum color, I remember the very first project that I did as well in the US with HANA. And we delivered this machine that cost like $500,000. And then all we had was like one Excel file that we loaded, created calculation view, we queried, and just like, now what? Everyone was like, okay, at least we spent nice week, shipping machine, looking over the shoulder, 5 people to create one calculation view, and it was fast.
Yeah? But you're lucky, it was fast.
Yes,
it was not slow.
Excel sheet had like 32,000 records.
Yeah, okay.
How could it be? How could it be slow? So my question is right now. So most of the projects that you see, are they rather technical or business value oriented? What I mean is just like, is it really business use case, or is it really technical use case, migration, optimization? Something that is just to get things done the same way they were done before, but in a newer way, cheaper way, something like this.
In my daily life, real only technical inspired use cases do not fly at no customer. So you always need the business behind and the business use case behind. So something like we do migrate from this to that, because it may run technically better. In my experience, all these projects failing and never starting because they ran out of money, they ran out of support. So without the business case, there is no technical case.
Okay, let's see. Last chance for a question. We still have 1 minute left. Then thanks again. That concludes the session. Thanks again for being here.